I quote from the I Am discourses. The first expression of every individual everywhere in the universe, either in spoken word, silent thought, or feeling, is I am, recognizing its own conquering divinity. The student, me, you, all of us, endeavoring to understand and apply these mighty yet simple laws, must stand guard more strictly over his thoughts and expression, in words or otherwise. For every time you say, I am not, I cannot, I have not, you are, whether knowingly or unknowingly, throttling that great presence within you. These words, I am. I opened up this program with the words, I am well, I am perfect health. And where do you think they came from? What do these words, I am, mean? In Exodus chapter 3, and says, Moses, Moses. And the first words that Moses says to God are, here I am. Then he said, do not draw near here, this place. Take off your sandals and for your feet, for this place where you stand is holy ground. And God speaks to Moses and says, I want you to go to the Pharaoh and I want you to free your people. And Moses is going, wait, hold on here. Who am I? And who are you? Moses says to God, who am I that I should go to the Pharaoh and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? So he said, I will certainly be with you, and this shall be a sign to you that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God on this mountain. Then Moses says to God, indeed, when I come to the children of Israel, and I say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? And God says to Moses, I am that I am. And he said, thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial to all generations. My name is I am that I am. Now, every single time that you use the words I am, you are citing the name of God, right from the holiest books. And every time you say the words, I am weak, I am poor, I am unlucky, I am unhappy, I am sick, I am unable to attract into my life what you want, you are desecrating the name of God. God did not say, I will be. My name is, I hope things work out well. My name is, maybe things will show up that I wanted, but possibly not. He said, I am that I am. You must be conscious of how you use these words. I am. I am strong. I am well. I am content. Even if your senses tell you something different, I am. And as we move now into the meat of this program, you'll see that putting the words I am in front of something into your mind and imagination is a very powerful way to attract into your life, recognizing your own divinity. I am God is not blasphemy. It is your identity.
I've come to know that if you unclog yourself, that arteries, you know how arteries get clogged with cholesterol? Well, I think of the soul like that. It's clogging. There's three things that clog it up. One is negativity. It clogs you, just like cholesterol will clog your arteries. And when you don't have negativity, that is when you're letting people row their own boat, then you begin to see life completely different than you've ever seen it before. You're not looking for anything to be down. You're not finding fault with other people. Negativity and judgment. These are the two biggies. Judgment. Hear this sentence. When you judge another, you do not define them. They are already defined. You define yourself. What else could you be doing? The judgment's coming out of you. It's yours. You're the one who owns it. So every time you judge another human being, find fault with them, find something that you don't like, put them down, whatever, you are not defining them, even though you may think you are, because you're stuck back here in form. When you're transformed, that is when you go beyond form, you see that you've just defined yourself. So now what you do is you practice non-judgmental behavior towards everyone and everything. And you honor the God in all life. You celebrate it. The fat, the skinny, the tall, the short, the dark, the light. Those who choose to believe one way and those who choose to believe another. The minute that you put them down, or anyone does, and then as you become more and more and more enlightened, you know what happens? You see how other people do it and how it's impossible for you to do it anymore. I never look at anything that comes into my life anymore as anything other than just what's supposed to be there. I don't judge it. I don't analyze it. I don't get mad at it. I'm not negative toward it. I just accept it. When you walk through that gate, you never go back again. You never go back to judgment again. I mean, judgment, can you imagine anything more stupid? Imagine going up to a tree and saying, look, you got moss all over you. You should be ashamed of yourself. You're disgusting. Why don't you take care of yourself? All you have to do is treat each other like that. All we have to do is treat each other like you have a right to be who you are and what you are. And wherever you are in your path is exactly where you're supposed to be. All of us. And it's like getting that dualism out of us and understanding that everything in the world is perfect, including your desire to improve it. And that's the paradox. Even the starving people, even the AIDS, even the diseases that are out there, all of that is part of the perfection of it all. Judging it doesn't do any good. Suffering is a part of it, and our desire to end suffering is also a part of it. And you don't have to fight it. You don't have to be in dualism with it. Because in this place where there are no boundaries, where there are no limits, there are none of those things that I just described. And when you have that, that's all you have to give away. And when that's what you give away, that's how you react to everything and everyone. And so you run into people. I don't run into the rude people anymore. They're not in my life anymore. I never see them anymore. You want to try a great exercise? Just try this. The next time you're in an airport and you got a delay, or a bus station, or wherever you are, just go to a 747 that is unloading, that's full. And everybody that comes off of the plane, try to find something nice about them. No matter who. No matter what they are, no matter how ugly you think they are, no matter how smelly you think they might be, no matter that they're so different from you, don't have that in you. It's like everybody that comes, oh, what a great smile. Oh, look at that lovely person over there. Isn't that a lovely grandmother over there? And not, oh, she's old. Ugh, I don't like those young kids. Ugh, I don't like the way they wear their hair. That's all judgment. All the judgment that you have in your life is clogging you. Judgment, negativity, and imbalance are the things that will clog you. And until you get rid of them, you will never know this level, pure thought. It's a wonderful exercise.
If your thoughts are on what is, let's just say you've got a disease process. Cancer, arthritis, the flu, a cold. If your thoughts are on, if you get a sniffle and your thoughts are on, this is in my nose today, but tomorrow it'll be in my throat. On Wednesday, it'll be down in my chest. On Thursday, I'll probably have a fever. I'm going to have to take Friday off. Now it's Monday morning, and you've got a sniffle, and in your mind, you're taking Friday off with a fever. If this is how you have trained your mind to work, to put your attention on the circumstances of your life, self-actualizing people, Abraham Maslow was a great teacher of mine. I was blessed to know him. I was blessed to be one of his devotees. He died on the 14th of June, 1970, in the same hour that I walked across the stage at Cobo Hall in Detroit receiving my PhD. In the same hour. He passed the baton on. He said, I've taught self-actualization to the academic world, now you take it to the masses. And Maslow said, self-actualizing people are distinguished from everybody else with this sentence: they must be what they can be. They must be what they can be. And one of those 10 secrets for success and inner peace is that you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. And know this, that your mind created everything in your life that you call a problem. And self-actualizing, highly functioning people who live at these extremely, extraordinarily high levels of consciousness never put their thoughts on what is if they don't like what is. Because if your thoughts are on what is, and you despise what is, and if you look at poor people, if you look at unsuccessful people, if you look at sickly people, if you look at tired people, if you look at addicted people, you will see people who put their attention constantly on their problems, on what is wrong, on what isn't working, on what I can't do, and so on. They'll tell you about it, they'll focus on it, and when your thoughts are on what is, and what you think about is what expands, you continue to attract more of what is into your life. When I had a practice, I had a woman who came to me who said, I just went through a divorce 7 months ago, and I've been dating, and I've dated 4 different men, and all 4 of them have used me as a sex object. And every single one of them called me up after the first date and were mistreating me, and they didn't have any respect for me, and that was the end of it. And she said, I'd like you to talk to all 4 of these men. And I said, there's only one common denominator here. You are attracting into your life what you are putting your attention on. It's called the Job effect. You can't think about what is missing, and you can't think and put your energy and talk about what is if you don't like what is. Can't do that unless you want more of that to show up. You cannot put your attention or your thoughts or your energy on what always has been. If you put your thoughts or your energy on what always has been is what will continue to show up into your life. What always has been is the wake of a boat. Your life is a boat. It's heading up the river in that direction. And it's heading there at 40 knots. And you're standing on the stern, and you're looking down at the water, and as the boat goes in this direction, here you are looking down into the water, and what do you see? You see the wake. And what is the wake? The wake is the trail that is left behind. That's what the wake of your life is. That's what the wake of the boat is. And if you ask yourself the question, what's driving the boat? What's making this thing head in this direction? The answer is the present moment energy that is being generated by the engine, and nothing more is what's making the boat go in this direction. And then if you ask yourself this key question, is it possible for the wake to drive the boat? Can a trail that is left behind make a boat go in this direction? What's the answer? Impossible, isn't it? And so too is it impossible for the wake of your life, the trail that you've left behind, to be the reason why your life is going in this direction. It is not because of anything that has happened back here. That's an illusion that we live under. What has happened back here is a trail. The choices you make in this moment. And if your thoughts are on what always has been, this is the way we've always done things, this is the kind of person I am, I can't change, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, all of those cliches that have become so much a part of our life. If your thoughts are on what always has been, and you despise what always has been, you will continue to attract more of what always has been, even though you despise it. It works that way.
The first of these 4 cardinal virtues is called reverence for all of life. Lao Tzu encouraged his devotees to have reverence not just for your family and the people close to you, but all of life. To have reverence for every human being, to see in every person not a judgment about what they are or what they aren't, what they should be or what they shouldn't be, but to see the unfolding of the Tao or the unfolding of God in that person and revere that. Not only do you revere that in all of the people that you meet in your life, but you revere it in every bit of life that you see. In all of the animals, you have reverence for all of them. In all of the plants the planet. You have reverence for all that is alive, and you treat it with great respect. So that's the first of what he called the cardinal virtues. And if you practice this, magical things begin to happen in your life. The second of these cardinal virtues is what he called natural sincerity, which manifests as honesty. Not the kind of honesty that says, I don't steal, but the kind of honesty that manifests as, I am authentic. I walk my talk. What I say, I am. I don't lie. Not only do I not lie, but I present myself as a divine piece of the Tao, of God, of the source, of divine mind. I present myself this way. And I'm not, it's like you can't call yourself a kind person if you're not kind to the lady who cleans your toilet in the hotel room. If you're not kind to the person who drives you from one place to the other. If you're not kind to the person who trims the trees or empties your garbage. It isn't just being kind to the people in your family and to your children. It's about that kind of natural sincerity, and you don't waver from that. The third of these cardinal virtues he called gentleness. And gentleness manifests as kindness, but it manifests more than just kindness. It manifests as a non-interfering way of being. That so many people that I know and have worked with and treated over the years go about their life looking for occasions to be offended, looking for reasons to be upset. And if you live from that perspective, if that's where you are and what you're coming from, you'll never find any shortage of those kinds of things. So you'll find someone whose hairdo you don't like. You'll find someone who dresses in a certain way. You'll find someone who speaks in a way that you don't understand. You'll find people who have different cultural values or different religious values than you, or who do any number of things that are not the way you are. And I suggest that gentleness really means just a way of respecting all of life. And the fourth of these four cardinal virtues is the virtue of service, of reaching out to other people, not just as something that you do once in a while, but as a way of being. That whatever it is that you wish for the other people in your life that you don't get along with, whatever it is that you wish for yourself, want it more for someone else than you want it for yourself. That's service. So if you have a family relative, an in-law, whatever it might be, anyone, an aunt that bothers you, whatever, and you know they're coming over for a family dinner, instead of saying, oh, here she comes again, and she's going to make this, and once again, Thanksgiving's going to be all screwed up because Aunt Lucy, it's like, instead, ask yourself, what do I want? I just want to be at peace around Aunt Lucy. And then want the peace that you want for yourself more for Aunt Lucy than you want it for yourself. You connect your energy with the divine realm, and you practice higher awareness through the practice of these virtues. And then he says, the mystical techniques for achieving immortality are revealed only to those who have dissolved all ties to the gross worldly realm of duality, conflict, and dogma. You have to dissolve your ties to this physical world. Recognize that who you are is not a human being having a spiritual experience. You've heard it said 1,000 times. Who you are is an infinite spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And you begin to identify yourself by living these virtues and by practicing higher awareness, the teachings of the secret. I took it to a different place, which is you will never attract what you want. You attract what you are. Become this. The teachers will find you, and the doors will open.
The thought process, the inner world, is the first step. And because the ancestor to every action is a thought. As you're using your mind in new ways, you're creating a whole new universe within, and that whole new universe within is just a precursor to the universe of your physical world. You have to think of your thoughts and your inner world and your capacity to be able to attract things into your life. You have to think of these things as like currency. The currency that you have for bringing into your life what you want is the way that you think. And if you use the currency that you have for bringing into your life what you would like to spend it on what you don't like, don't be surprised if what you don't like keeps showing up. And the people who are not good at manifesting, who will tell you, this is just a lot of nonsense. You can't do this. You can't just think something and then have it work out for you. And they keep wondering why it not working out for you keeps showing up for them in their life. And they will constantly tell you about all the reasons why it can't work, and you never stop to say, but this is how you think all the time. Here's a good way of thinking about it. In the material world, the currency that we have for attracting what we want in our life is called money. Whereas in the metaphysical world, the currency that we have for attracting what we want is called thoughts.
Almost everybody makes this huge mistake. They review all of the things that they don't like. They review all of the things that are missing. They think about all of the people who have really upset them during the day. They think about how wrong their spouse is or about how bad their children are. Now, I talked earlier about this habitual mind that we call the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind cannot make a distinction between what is literally happening to you in your life and what you are imagining in your imagination. It can't make a distinction. So now you go off to sleep at night with all of those negative thoughts swirling around, and you go into your subconscious mind. And now you got 8 hours to marinate. 8 hours to marinate on all the things that are wrong. Now your subconscious mind thinks that this is what you want, because that's what you're experiencing and that's what you feel. And your body feels lousy and you have trouble sleeping and you're full of stress. And so now you've got 8 hours in which to marinate on all the things that are wrong. Your subconscious mind, which is the vehicle for materialization and manifestation, that's where it takes place in this habitual mind of yours, is going to work on and offering you experiences that match up to what you feel. Supposing you were able to reverse that, and in the last 5 minutes of your day, you were to say, I feel great, I feel joyful, I experienced what I want, I met the person that I wanted to meet, I was able to get the job that I wanted to get, and you start saying to yourself, this is how I feel. Now you've got 8 hours, and your subconscious mind believes that that's who you are and what you want, and for the next 8 hours, it begins to align you in the mysterious way that none of us can understand, that allows for the manifestation and the materialization to take place.
It's a new way of thinking. Catch yourself in every moment that you have your attention on what you don't want. You're going through a struggle, a tough divorce. I am only going to put my attention on being happy. And every time I have an inclination to put my thoughts somewhere else, I'm going to bring my thoughts to what it is that I want, with passion, and I will attract it into my life. And you can do that with healing. You can do that with making the job promotion that you want, creating the kind of relationship that you want, and manifesting anything into your life.
You put your energy and your attention on what you do want, and then you let go. And you allow the universe to provide for you what it is that you're willing to give. And infinite patience is just another word, or another term rather, for knowing. If you have infinite patience, it means that you absolutely know that what you are attempting to manifest and attract into your life is going to show up, because you're infinitely patient. I put no time on this, no restrictions. I just know because I have faith. I have faith. Now, what's the immediate result? The immediate result that you get from infinite patience is a sense of peace. A sense of peace. There's a wonderful line that is so paradoxical that most people are always asking me about when they read Manifest Your Destiny, which is, infinite patience produces immediate results. That's right directly out of A Course in Miracles. And the way I interpret that is that you have to detach from what it is that you want to attract into your life.
As we move into the meaning phase of life, it's not as if you no longer are ambitious. It's that you have ambition with meaning. You're ambitious about other things. So now your ambition is transformed into purpose, and you have to learn to become the observer and to step back. You begin to live in process, trusting where your source is taking you. You begin to detach from the outcome. And that detachment allows you to no longer be fighting. It allows things to just come to you. And you're no longer being the person who's making things happen. You're allowing them to show up. The fight is gone. So I get asked over and over again, is there a purpose to the ego? And my reaction to that is it's just not worth defending. The ego is the thing that is the false self. And when you're defending it, you're defending an illusion. You're defending something that really isn't who you are. Your authentic self is way beyond the ego. Every one of us knows that we came here with music to play. And yet we have a tendency to believe that we are separate entities and that we have to fit in, and that's our role in life. And none of that is true. The shift can happen in many ways. It can be just a comment. It can be a coincidence that occurs, a particular event that you weren't expecting. It can be anything at all. But the result is always the same. You begin to realize that you're not here to push life, to make it a struggle all the time. You're here to enjoy and to be living in peace. That's what happens when you're in the afternoon of your life. If you want to see the doors open in your life, you detach yourself from what the ego says, and you allow yourself to live from this divine place called spirit. And what Lao Tzu called the virtues, he said there are 4 of them. The first of these is reverence for all of life, which is respect. The second is sincerity, which is really nothing more than just honesty. The third is gentleness, which manifests itself as kindness in our life. And the fourth is supportiveness, which just manifests itself as service, offering service to others. Those are the 4 virtues. And Lao Tzu asks us to live by them. There's a great quote by the poet Hafiz. He said, even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, you owe me. Just think what a love like that can do. It lights up the whole world. We're all going to get it. Ultimately, we're all going to get it. There's a great line from A Course in Miracles where Jesus says, if you want to be like me, knowing that we are alike, I will help you. If you want to be different than me, I will wait until you change your mind. And you will change your mind. And really, isn't it the ultimate thing is, why should we have to die in order to get it? We ought to be able to get it while we're here. Nobody needs to ask the question, what is my purpose? It will always be found in service. If you can just for one day put your attention on making life better for someone else, if you can focus on thinking like that, that's how God thinks. It's an ancient concept, but it's still relevant. To touch someone's life is more valuable than any amount of money. My friend Byron Katie says, to believe that you need what you don't have is the definition of insanity. That you can't be fulfilled until you get all these things, that's an illusion. Really, you don't need anything more. It doesn't matter what it is you do. You could be a cab driver, a teacher, a factory worker, a manager. What matters is that you put your attention on how may I serve. Think of the people you go to, whoever you are in your path. You can run an entire business this way, not being attached to outcome, putting attention on service. Your life becomes about living those virtues. How can I serve? How can I be gentle? How can I be reverent? Thinking like that means you're living in meaning. The messages of the morning are about what you can and can't do, about how society defines you. But in the afternoon, after the shift, it's about connecting to an energy that's taking care of everything, and we're all just being done. Try to stop yourself from breathing, from your fingernails growing. Living the virtues is all we need to do. The truth is, I feel something else is in charge of all of this. So it's really about surrendering to it. Surrendering to something that is bigger than you, that you are connected to, and that's really in control of everything. There's a place deep within us that wants to feel fulfilled. That wants to know that my life has made a difference. That I've left this place, this planet that I've lived on, better than when I arrived. That someone's life has been profoundly touched because of my existence. We all want that. It's not about age or about finding yourself. Wherever you are, at whatever age, you're only a thought away from changing your life. Read The Life of a Cell. It's a beautiful little book. And when you look inside of a cell, you'll see little protons and neutrons and little atoms, whatever, all the things that are inside this cell, whether it's a rhinoceros's nose or whether it's your ear or whether it's a hair or whether it's a piece of dust or whatever. Just assume it's you, a tiny little cell inside of you. What holds the cell together? What makes the cell stay together? Do you ever think of that? Why doesn't your nose slide off? Don't you ever think of that? You got to start thinking of these things. How come your arm always hangs there, you know? How come it doesn't just fall off one day? It's always there. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. What's making these cells stay together? Well, scientists can't even answer that. They get to the thing that they call the source, that within every living cell there's something called the source. A heart starts beating inside a mother's womb 7 or 8 weeks after conception, and we have no idea. It's a total mystery to us. Not a physician on the planet can figure it out. Where was that life before? Where did it come from? Where does it go when it's not doing that? And what made that heartbeat out of nothing? How does that work? What is that? And how come in that tiny little drop of protoplasm is everything you need? I mean, it's your elbows in there, that hair that's growing over here that you don't want anymore. That's in that little drop there. And you can't stop it. You can't reverse it. It's all in there. The growth that has taken place in you, it's like it's all in that tiny little speck that you can't even see inside that cell. Life is such a mystery, this form business, until you begin to see that that isn't what life is. Like the person who eats the package and focuses on the package instead of the content. The package is your form. The real you wouldn't want to toss away, and so many of us do. Now, when there is harmony within a cell, within a tiniest cell you can find in your body, what happens to the cell adjacent to it? It cooperates with that cell, doesn't it? It cooperates with that cell. It doesn't eat it up. It doesn't try to hurt it. It doesn't try to destroy it. It is at peace. It is at harmony. And so harmony and cooperation become the essence of life. When there is not ease or serenity or peace within a cell, that is when there is dis-ease or disharmony or an absence of serenity or arrogance rather than peace or aggressiveness, what happens to the cell next to it? It gobbles it up. It gets aggressive. It eats it up. It has no reference to the whole. Something that has no reference to the whole means that it has no regard for the whole. Like you have many, many life forms on you that are ugly if you look at them. Look inside your eyelid and study it. You'll see millions of little life forms, and then you magnify them. They got claws, and they got teeth, and they're in your eyelid, and there's millions of them. But they have a reference to the whole. They don't gobble up your eyeball. They don't say, I think I'll take the ear today. They don't do that. They stay where they belong. They have a reference to the whole, and they work in conjunction with or in harmony with the whole, as do all the bugs in the lining of your stomach and in your intestine and your toenails inside your nose. They all have a reference to the whole, but cancer doesn't do that, does it? So it will eat up each cell because it doesn't have harmony within. And what will it do to itself? It'll destroy itself, won't it? A cancer in society is the same way. A cancer in society is one of us who is one cell, who doesn't have ease within itself, it has no reference to the whole, that is all the rest of us, or all of society, and doesn't see itself as part of all of you, and it will gobble up all of those around it until it destroys itself, doesn't it? So what is the answer to a cancer in our body and a cancer in our society? Is to get harmony within. And when you get harmony within, you cooperate with the cell next to you in order to save yourself. Now that's just like a little mini lesson in metaphysical philosophy. Now imagine me up here with you making yourself into a cell for a second, so that you got all these tiny little cells, and this philosophy applies. Now imagine we can all just stand back and see all of humanity, 6.5 billion of us, or 6 billion of us. Is that what we have now? And here is this huge mosaic that constitutes all of humanity, and it's a puzzle, and it has 6 billion pieces in it, but there's one missing. And you can get back far enough and see it. Where do your eyes go? Right to the missing piece. The totality of that life form is not complete without that missing piece, is it? That's how important you are. You make all of humanity complete. You are the I that is we. Just like the I that is we, that is inside of your pancreas, you are alive with life. All the different bacteria and all the trillions of cells and so on. And it's like you walk around all day long, you think, gee, I'm an individual all by myself, and I'm an island and all that, and you got zillions of little things inside of you going, and without them, you can't make it. And when something comes along inside your organism that no longer has a reference to the whole, isn't connected to the whole, you're eliminated, and so is it, aren't you? Disharmony, then, becomes the thing that destroys us. And as long as you are in harmony and positive, and when people say, well, positive thinking is just a crock, it isn't, in the sense that a positive thought keeps you in harmony with the universe, and a negative thought keeps you away from it. Because we are thought, and the universe is thought, the fastest vibration, we have the capacity to either destroy or create, and we're the only things that do. That's why we're different than a pig and a horse, because we have a mind, and that mind is part of the universal mind. That unity, that oneness, is not any different. Like I am as connected to you, but just because I'm 10 feet away from you, I am still a part of this totality called humanity, just like the bug that is 8 feet away from me down in my toenail, which seems so distant from me, but is still a part of me, is real as well. It's all one. So that oneness, that universalness, is not just some speculation. You connect to it all. And if all of us have harmony within us, gentle harmony within us, and we're flowing with the universe, it's just the most powerful thing in the world.
See, I believe that circumstances do not make a man, they reveal him. That's from James Allen in As a Man Thinketh. One of the ironies for me is in the neighborhood that I live in Florida, real close to where I live is a very poor area. And I drive through there, and this area in Florida has the highest unemployment rate in the state of Florida. And the yards are the messiest in the state of Florida. Now, that is a real incongruity to me. Why would a neighborhood where everybody's unemployed, or so many people are unemployed, be so sloppy? Why would there be trash all over the front lawns? Why would the garbage not be taken up? These are people who have nothing else to do. They got all day long to work on their lawn and to keep it clean and to paint their house and to do whatever it is that they... But they're not doing that. Most of the time when you drive through there, you see a whole lot of people sitting around in groups, either playing cards or gambling, or there's some drug dealing going on. What I believe is that a person's circumstances reveal a lot about you. That we have choices as we go through our life, regardless of where we're born or what our status is or what our color is or whatever. We still have a lot of choices that we don't exercise, and what we do is we reverse it. We blame our circumstances on why my house isn't nice and why I don't have a lot of money. And we come up with all of these kinds of excuses. And what you have to do to understand the concepts that I'm talking about here is to get that when you get these principles and they become a part of your life, the circumstances of your life are going to start changing dramatically. It isn't the other way around. It isn't that my circumstances are the thing that created all of these problems that I have, and it's the man that I'm married to, or the woman that I'm married to, or the way my children behave, or it's the job I have, or it's my boss, or anything external to yourself. when you change around your attitudes and your beliefs about yourself and about your fellow man and about the universe and about your place in it, and you begin to adopt a loving stance towards all of those things, when you begin to think loving thoughts and positive thoughts and beautiful thoughts, that's what you ultimately have to give away. So instead of being angry at other people or your boss or whatever, what you have is only loving things to give back to them, or positive things or ways of thinking that are in harmony. That's what you have to give away. And when you start giving that away, you start amazingly seeing the circumstances of your life change. See, many times I will be speaking to an audience, or I'll be on television. This happened to me on AM San Francisco just a few months ago. And they were asking me questions about my life and all of this. And they said, well, don't you think that it's really easy for you to say all of these things about being positive and enjoying your life and the perfection of the universe and all of these kinds of things? Because look at you. You're a millionaire. You're a popular author. You've had a lot of fame. You're on television all the time. You've got everything that a person could want in life. It's easy for you to say. And my response was, then I'm the person that they should be listening to. I am not saying these things because I have a lot of money and because I have fame and so on, that maybe I have a lot of money and a lot of fame because I live these things that I'm talking about. And I'm the person who came out of a set of circumstances that everybody else who came out of those circumstances in my family and in my immediate surroundings don't have the things that I have that they think are so important. This money and this fame and all of these accumulations and things. And coming out of an orphanage situation, coming out of poverty, coming out of broken family, coming out of an alcoholic father who abandoned his family, and all of these kinds of things, and having to be put into separate homes and so on, and then living in very, very poor circumstances virtually all of my life, perhaps I am where I am because of these principles, rather than that I can spout these principles because of where I am. That's really my response to people who think that this stuff about higher self and being a more spiritual person, I don't have the time for that. I don't have the luxury for that. My suggestion is that get your priorities in order. Get this stuff that we're talking about here in this program. Get this. And understand that you are the product of the way that you think. And that the circumstances of your life are revealing you. They didn't make you. And that if there are things about your life that you don't like or would like to improve upon, whatever they are, whether it's making more money or improving your relationships or getting a better job or getting your book published or whatever it is that you have got going in your life, that if you stop focusing on that and begin to look at what kind of a human being are you and how do you fit into this whole body of humanity, and are you part of the solution or are you part of the problem, and are you in harmony, first of all, with yourself as a human being, and do you love the self that you are and treat it always with respect and love, the love that it deserves, and consequently then cooperate with the other people around you? Do you send them love because that's all you have to give away? Do you radiate love, or are you trying to get it from other people? And do you see the miracle that you are? I affirm what it is. I stay on purpose. I know what it is that I would like to see manifested. And then I retreat in peace. And I'm detached from the outcome. And you've got to be willing to detach from the outcome. And you might say to yourself, yes, but what if it doesn't work out? Which is the ego immediately asking that question. Yes, but what if it doesn't work out? You have to be willing to allow it not to work out. Because not having it work out just means it's not on your time schedule. And that means you no longer have patience. You're insisting, you're pulling on the shoots. You want that tomato now. You don't get tomatoes in May in Michigan. You got to wait till August. And if you don't like it, then send to Peru and you can have them. And so what you do is you let go of your desire to have tomatoes show up in May, and you wait till June or July or August. And if you absolutely have to have tomatoes, you just go to Peru. And they'll bring them to you, or however that works. And you let go. And so you have this knowing, and I have this knowing. And when it's not working, I don't say to myself, okay, this is proof that this program is not authentic, and this is proof that what you're talking about isn't and so and so. Great things have no fear of time. When you have the knowing, you have infinite patience, you get immediate results. The immediate result is you're free. You're at peace. And that's what the whole thing is about. That's all the higher self wants, is for you to be at peace. You get to be at peace, and you got everything you need in life. Every moment in your life that you're at peace, you're enlightened. So you have a knowing, and now it doesn't show up, and the contract doesn't work out, or they say no instead of yes. But you're at peace. You say, if it's not happening now, I'm still at peace. It'll happen. I know it will. And you go back to the principles. You practice unconditional love. You don't demand. You don't insist. And then you start seeing it show up in a different way. You thought it was supposed to be over here. Got my PhD in 1970. That year, I did a job interview. That was an opening that a friend of mine said, just do this job interview. It's great. It's for the vice president of a community college. And I said, all right. It was like triple what I was making at that time. But what I was doing at that time was I was teaching, and I was doing some great research projects. I was teaching at a university, which I loved, being there in that environment. I had a practice, which was terrific, a counseling practice. But this idea of being the vice president, I was 30 years old, of a college, and having all of the things that go with a vice, it was just too appealing to my ego. And I went in and I did the interview. And there was a long interview process at this particular community college in Michigan. First I had to meet with a group of students. And they all thought it was great, having a guy who's just out of his 20s be the vice president of the school. And I was cool. They liked that. Then I had to be interviewed by the faculty, and the faculty all thought that I was terrific. Then I went to the administration. And the administrators weren't quite sure about whether they wanted some young upstart to be coming in there, and so you had to get 3 out of 3. Well, I got 2 out of 3. I got the faculty and the student vote, but the administration vote wasn't, and it got down to myself and another man whose last name is Cunningham. It was going on for months, and it came down to 2 people, and I didn't get it, and he did. And at the time that happened, I was really kind of surprised. But there was a part of me that was relieved, because I kept thinking, I'm going to have to go to committee meetings. I'm going to have to put on a tie and a suit. And I'm going to have to go in there every day. And even though I was going to be making 3 times as much money, and I was going to have all of this sort of prestige thing over here, what I really wanted to be doing over here was going to have to be put aside in the name of these ego things. And I thought what I wanted was these things that my ego was telling me. But somehow the divine intelligence knew better. And I came in second. And as a result, I went and applied for a job at a university in New York, doing what I loved doing, teaching and having my own practice. And the rest of the story is the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say. And so, when you think that it's supposed to be working and it doesn't work, and you say, yes, but it's not working, perhaps there's something else that's working, that's going on, that you may not even have any awareness about. And you have to understand that every fall of your life, that everything that is supposed to show up, that you think is supposed to show up and doesn't on this time, but there's perfect timing in the universe, because this divine intelligence is in all things. And it attracts to you exactly what it is supposed to at that time. Even the things that you just don't quite understand or don't seem right.